Welcome to Mallorca, where it's actually raining. Could have got this at home for free. This is the brand new Lexus NX 350H. It is their new mid-sized crossover SUV, and Lexus are really not even apologizing about how aggressively, when it comes to price and spec, they are going after the German three. BMW, Audi and Mercedes, they want some of your ass. So, we're going to have a little look around the car today. We're going to check out the boot space, the interior space. This version is a hybrid version, just a petrol 2.5 petrol engine. Later on, we'll have a little look at the plug-in hybrid, which promises great things, including up to 90 kilometers in an urban environment of EV driving in pure electric mode. So let's jump in. We'll have a little look around the interior. It's nice, because it's a Lexus. That's what they do. Prices have not been announced just yet. We're waiting for the budget. Lexus are waiting for the budget to be announced in a couple of weeks' time, and when that is done, my guess will be early 50s. But what do I know? I wasn't expecting to get into this car and be massively surprised. I was expecting really high quality materials, nice driving position, a solid, smooth ride, and a very well spoken lady who's on the sat nav. Let's get really the only negative, if you want to call it a negative, out of the way, is that right at the roundabout, apart from her, Jesus, you still get that whine from the engine under load. So 300 meters later, heading slightly left to the roundabout. Now Lexus say people don't drive hybrids like that. It's just people who do videos. And that's kind of end of list of complaints. It's very, very smooth. These roads we're on are good. Like, even the patchwork on these roads compared to Ireland is good. Very, very smooth. So it's a good way to, I suppose, test out the smoothness of a car. But over any bumps that we've experienced, it is still very, very comfortable. Now, there's a bit of noise over your A-pillars, and I just find this style of car will always have that. It's never going to be the most seamless lump of metal to sail through the air, and even on gentle acceleration, I do feel there's a bit of improvement off the engine noise there. It's only when you're particularly hammering it to go up a hill or overtake somebody. But when you look down and you look around you and you have a look at your surroundings, it's all Lexus-y in a good way. Total average fuel economy, this car only has 600 kilometers on it so far, and it's doing 6-ish litres per 100 kilometers. It will definitely do 5 all day long. I'd say it's just probably different people driving the car and people are testing it. So mirrors on the side are huge, they're massive. We have this rear view mirror, I don't know, it's very good resolution. You can flip it and it does turn into a normal mirror if you don't like it. That's not going to be standard. What is standard on all of these NX models is the safety features across all trim grades. They're all the same. It is the same 2.5 engine that they use in all of their petrol hybrid models. It's a bit... You could get seasick if you kept driving along a road shaking the steering wheel from left to right, but that's probably not how people drive. That's not a nice surface on the road there now, and it handles it very well. I mean, you can feel it, there's tire noise, but it's soaking up those bumps very, very well. So just a little update into the journey now. This journey is a lot longer than we thought it was going to be, but I've been driving probably over an hour. I'm quite tired, but it is a lovely place to sit. It's such a smooth car. We're on really twisty roads now in Mallorca, climbing up through mountains, kind of the northern part, just come through Alcudia. It is everything you'd expect. It's very comfortable, it's very refined. I've definitely worked out if you don't hammer the throttle, that whine is actually quite reduced compared to maybe other versions of the car, but of the engine. But that also doesn't really make sense because it's the same engine. But anyway, if you just gently squeeze the throttle, it still sounds like a petrol. But it is still averaging, and going up big hills, it's still averaging 6 litres per 100 kilometers. So Next time I talk to you behind the wheel of the new NX, it'll be in the plug-in hybrid version, which has apparently an urban setting of up to 90 kilometers on a single charge. Time now to have a look at the plug-in hybrid of the car. We're at kind of a stopover hotel for lunch, so there's other journalists around. Not that I'm a journalist, but he could be. So this is Lexus' first ever plug-in hybrid car. It will do up to 90 kilometers on a charge in an urban environment. Interesting thing about it is the boot space has not been compromised by the fact that it has batteries, the way they're designed down here. So it's not all shoved into the back of the car. So the shoulder line across the front is stronger, really prominent in a darker colour. We've been kind of living with the car for the last few hours now, and the door handles, for example, there's just a button. It is a physical squishy button on the back, but the handle doesn't pull out of the car, so that takes a little bit of getting used to. And the other thing is that there's a safety feature on the car, as standard for front and rear doors. You can't open them if there's traffic approaching you here. But anyway, you have to pull the trigger of the door twice to get out. And if you have people in your car who don't normally take journeys in your car, they're going to be like, the door won't open. And you have to pull it again. And you should get a sign, actually, just stick it on the dashboard to stop them asking you. So you have space under here for your cables, and because it's a Lexus, it's a very fancy, over-engineered piece of fake leather. But this is good. So this bends. If you have stuff and buggies and, you know, bikes, now you can obviously take that out, but it's just, sometimes it's nice to have that with you in the car. And yeah, you could say it feels cheap for such a premium car, but also you could say it's very practical because of the way it bends. So I just thought it was important to show you that. And this, of course, is the first Lexus that you've got Lexus lettering, like Skoda and many other brands. And because this is how you know the plug-in hybrid is, this is the 450h Plus. So this car is actually over 300 brake horsepower if you have the battery charged and you have the petrol engine working in tandem. Anyway, let me show you the rear legroom very, very quickly, and then we're going to take this car for a spin. This seat is set up for a gentleman called Robert Flavin. You may have heard of him. So Bob is, how tall are you?
6'1".
6'1", right. So if you've got someone who's 6'1" here, you'll still have legroom. You're not going to lose them, right? Your limbs will be intact. They've got two USB-Cs down here. They're covered up by little doors, which is handy. Stops people sticking things into them. In this F Sport model, you're going to get heated seats in the back. We have figured that the glass roof, particularly when you're driving, again for taller passengers, there's not an awful lot of headroom. Now, for me, I'm not 6 foot. It's fine. Back here you are getting a nice big wide armrest that is almost at a proper right angle. The middle section has got like plastic for wear and tear or some other reason, but it's not fully flat. And even in this darker, well, it's obviously red as well, but it's bright enough. I would definitely say, depending on costs, depending on your head height, get the glass roof, but it doesn't come back here, so your rear passengers don't get any benefit. I know people will comment and say, you didn't have the key on you, so I just want to check this, because... Aha. So once you have the key on your person, which is a safety thing, there's no point someone being able to pull up behind your car if you're in the car with the key and they can open your boot, so it does work, that's fine. Does it close as well? Oh, it does. Oh, that's good, that's good. Excellent. Now we are sitting in the full plug-in hybrid version of the car. It is the F Sport version, so the seats are more buckety, there's bits of red. Still, I mean, it actually proves that the interior of the middle range car that we were in is actually still pretty good though, because apart from colour, the screen is still the same size, and it all still feels lovely. However, we encountered a problem on the way up here. I was not driving. If you're familiar with this part of Mallorca, cyclists love it and train here. And a cyclist was coming down a really narrow, like look at how narrow these roads are. Look at how close the barrier is to the edge of the car. And they whacked off on the driver's side mirror, and in a lot of cars the mirror would go, this didn't. The glass just crashed and cracked. So main difference with this car obviously is the fact that it's a plug-in hybrid, first ever for Lexus, and it promises a range of up to 90 kilometers in an urban environment. Does that mean flat roads and slightly down roads? I'm not entirely sure. We haven't seen that today now, but we have been going up a lot of mountains, a lot of ups and downs. So obviously this is a little bit more firm on the road because it's an upgraded sports package on the car. For the size of the alloys, the tyres are still pretty good, decent amounts of rubber on them, so they're not elastic bands by any means. Obvious difference is how much quieter this car is, particularly when you do have charge in the battery, and it will do up to motorway speeds in electric mode if you have the range to do it. So there's no issues there. And the noticeable difference obviously is a jump of nearly 100 extra brake horsepower if you have both the battery charged and the petrol engine at work. And when you take off, it really does take off, and it sounds better as well. One big difference between this car and many other plug-in hybrids, when the range or the charge runs out, you're just running a petrol engine. The plug-in hybrid NX, when it runs out of battery charge, it reverts to being a hybrid. So you're still going to get a car that's going to do 5 litres, maybe slightly more than the non-plug-in version, because you'll still have the weight of the batteries being carried around in the car. I don't necessarily feel that you can feel the weight. The centre of gravity as to where they are, it kind of works out. You can go into corners late and that's just stuff flying around the back, but if that wasn't there, it'd be fine. So it still goes around corners pretty well, actually. So for me, if money was no object, I'd probably want the plug-in just for that extra power, and I'd want the F as well, just because it looks the best. I just think though, from a driving point of view, that whine that you get from the standard car, whereas this car is more relaxing to drive because you've got the torque of the batteries, and it's just quieter and just, yeah, it's just nicer. It's also a bloody wide car, so again, if you're not great at spatial awareness, it's like, oh, is the car going by and it's so tight. It really is like here's a corner, I have no idea what's coming around it, and grand. A lot of people just on social media have asked space-wise. It is like a Tiguan type, maybe a bit. It is a bit bigger. Definitely nice space in the back of it and stuff like that. The boot is pretty class-leading, and it is very cool that even in the battery version of the car, they haven't had to compromise the boot space for that. That is a good thing. It'll be back to the same old thing where you'll say, well, I can have a really cheap-to-run NX without the plug-in, and that'll do me fine, and it's still able to do 5, maybe 6. Like, the difference is this is doing 3 litres per 100 kilometres, so there is a noticeable difference in the fuel consumption. That said, we are still in battery mode. And yes, you can charge it for later on in journeys, so if you want to top up your battery, you can use the petrol engine to do that. It kind of goes against the whole idea of being green, but you can do it. If money was no object, some form of the plug-in hybrid would be the one. It's probably an all-round nicer car to drive. We've driven both versions of the car today now, the petrol standard hybrid, the plug-in hybrid. As always, these range figures, you've got to take them with a little bit of a pinch of salt, but it's an 18 kilowatt hour battery, lithium ion, so it's reasonably big for a plug-in hybrid. It's a very smooth car to drive. It's a very comfortable car to drive. It is a bit soft in the bends compared to something like the S300H, and you know, that's down to a combination of maybe weight and just the height of the car. Certainly if you're looking for a Lexus that really goes around corners like it's on rails, it's not the car, but then that style of car really isn't designed for that. Very luxurious. I don't know if they've really cut corners anywhere. The Irish standard screen is going to be the 9-inch. The 14-inch is huge. The way it's angled towards the driver, I'm not sure. You kind of feel like you're a bit in limbo if you're a passenger. There's nothing really in front of you apart from the dash. But it is a good looking car. And obviously in F-Sports trim it looks the best, but I think we're going to see a lot of these in, well, Lidl, because people who have loads of money who can buy Lexus still want to buy cheap bread. So you'll see this car in Lidl soon. They are officially on sale in October, later on this month, but I don't think we're going to really see many in Ireland until January, and Lexus expect to sell about 300. So if you want one, go talk to them. And thank you for watching.